Hip-hop ako kultúra vznikol v 70. rokoch v New Yorku 20. storočia v prostredí chudobných štvrtí, obývaných prevažne černošským obyvateľstvom. Čo sa týka oblečenia, veľa ľudí to dnes vidí ako módu. Spustené gate, dlhé trička, kedy si sa nosili ešte aj dresy. V tej dobe boli ľudia chudobní a keďže chalani rýchlo rástli, muselo im oblečenie vydržať niekoľko rokov. A tak im kupovali veci o pár čísel väčšie. Do hip-hopovej kultúry patria 4 elementy, ako už väčšina ľudí vie: graffiti, breakdance, rap, DJing, beatbox, o ktorých si postupne povieme v tomto dokumente. Ja osobne by som sem zaradil ešte skating a parkour. Samozrejme, veľa ľudí si mýli rap a hip-hop. Keď niekto povie rap, tak tým má na mysli DJing, MCing. Ak povie niekto hip-hop, tak má na mysli graffiti, breakdance, rap, všetko ako proste jeden celok. Štýl a technika rapovania súvisí so západoafrickými básnikmi nazývanými grioti. Ktorých piesne obsahovali hovorené prvky. Významným vplyvom boli taktiež hovorené pasáže piesní populárnych soulových a funkových hudobníkov. Celkovo sa dá povedať, že hip-hop vznikol z funky. V newyorských kluboch bola v 70. rokoch populárna predovšetkým disco hudba, na uliciach to však bol funk, soul a reggae. Konali sa tzv. Block parties, party na ulici, kde DJ používali na reprodukciu hudbu 2 gramofóny. Dôležitým vplyvom hudobným i kultúrnym bol dub, subžáner reggae, ktorý vznikol v 60. rokoch. Dub boli v podstate inštrumentálne verzie populárnych reggae piesní, dôraz sa kladol na bicie a výraznú basovú linku. Dub priniesli do New Yorku jamajskí prisťahovalci, ktorí ho začali hrávať na party, komunitných centrách a uliciach. Ako ďalšie vplyvy si môžeme uviesť jazz a blues.
The famous Bronx River houses, the home of hip-hop. We also used to say the home of God, and also Little Vietnam. It was crazy at one time, with even the police when they come in. We had a lot of gang violence happening at the time. Also a lot of social awareness that was also happening at the time. So that's why we started Universal Zulu Nation, trying to take a lot of gang affiliations and turn it to something positive.
Bambaataa was one of the heads of the Black Spades. You know what I'm saying? He was the division leader. And it was taken from a concept of Bambaataa went to Africa when he was leaving the Spades, and he seen how the black people were living over there, and you know, he adapted his culture and said, when I go back, I'm going to start the Zulu Nation.
We started organizing a lot of the different people in the street, you know, who had different dance groups, B-boys, B-girls, as well as rappers and graffiti artists all together to make the whole culture.
It evolved from us beating each other up to like break dances. I used to break dance myself back before Crazy Legs, before all them cats. Y'all got the moves from me, you know it. This was 73, and a lot of these DJs, they were basically playing, you know, kind of like a disco club type of thing, you know. A lot of stuff that was being played on the radio, a lot of popular stuff. And out of all of that came this rebel, Kool Herc. He wouldn't play that main album cut. He would play a break from a song inside the album, so it was like beats and rhythms and, you know what I'm saying, his style was, he was like God.
The break beat is that part that you look for in a record that let your God self just get wild.
Was the source of the energy, because it was his responsibility to find the music, the selection of music, what type of rhythms that the people would feel in the audience. And there actually were no MCs, it was just the DJ.
We would never get on the mic and start saying a rhyme. The only time we would pick up the microphone is when we would say, if he on a green truck outside, please move it, or Jerry, your mother's at the...
Overall, you know what I'm saying? You're not really going up against one guy. You're not trying to like battle this one guy, you're trying to battle everybody.
So
back in the day, DMC World Finals Revolve was like a big time help to me right at that point. Like I used to come into his house, practice, just put my set together like we were just putting our song together. We just were like, all right, well, it'll be dope if you do this at that point, and just a lot of input, a lot of help.
You could watch a videotape and not realize how much time and energy was put into those 6 minutes. Months and months of practice, you know, all boiled down to 6 minutes.
I took clarinet in the 4th grade.
Me and my buddy Stan that I used to dig with, he was a graffiti writer. We used to come here just looking for things like, you know, Incredible Bongo Band and stuff. Every now and then we'd buy things and Ed or Mark or someone will say, oh yeah, we got a ton of these in the basement, or, you know, oh, you should see the basement if you think this is something. So after like 5 years of hearing this, I just decided to can I just take a look? And we came down here, and I couldn't believe that there was still something like this, a cache this large, and the fact that it's relatively untouched. Just being in here is a humbling experience to me, because you're looking through all these records, and it's sort of like a big pile of broken dreams in a way. Almost none of these artists still have a career, really. So you have to kind of respect that in a way. I mean, if you're making records, and if you're DJing and putting out, you know, releases, whether it's mixtapes or whatever, you're sort of adding to this pile, whether you want to admit it or not. You know what I mean? 10 years down the line, you'll be in here. So keep that in mind when you start thinking like, oh yeah, I'm invincible and I'm the world's best or whatever.
Computer generation and new equipment, and that style died, and the funk just didn't sound rugged like it used to. It's something about that, just that beat, man. It moves you in a certain way before you even hear vocals. It's a driving force. See, believe me, I'd probably have to go through a lot more drama than I do as a DJ because of the fact that the MC is more vocal. So when you're speaking a voice like that and you're selling over 100,000 albums, you're touching so many people. They're taking what you're saying to them and they're hoping that you are what you talk. And I tell the guru every day, yo, let's be about everything we drop, because we're gonna get tested on it. If the people on the street don't test us on it, God's gonna test us on it.
Someone recorded this sound. So does that mean they own it if I go?
Digital samplers allow you to take a snatch of a record, sound, or anything like that, and turn that into a building block for a song.
We grabbed conga sounds, trumpet sounds, violin sounds, drum beat sounds, and remanipulated and created our own music.
We're taking sounds and meshing them together and putting them all in time to come up with something totally different.
At the end of the day, the court said, not only is this copyright infringement, but we see criminal prosecution in line for this one.
We never anticipated, like, getting someone to pay for James Brown going, and that's it.
I didn't even know what sampling was, and I didn't know anything about it until people say, they're sampling your drums.
We live in a remix culture now, and the laws have to change to be able to help that culture do what it has to do. A reinterpretation of that history to us in the present day.
For me, the most definitive sound in hip-hop is like the sound of a needle skipping over a scratchy record, like the sampled sound.
For someone to use a sample of an existing piece of music and then for their music, I think it's extraordinarily lazy artistic choice. It's much easier to take something that is already awesome and play it again with your name on it.
Perhaps it's a little easier to take a piece of music than it is to learn how to play a guitar or something. True, just like it's probably easier to snap a picture with that camera than it is to actually paint a picture. But what the photographer is to the painter is what the modern producer and DJ and computer musician is to the instrumentalist.
The turntable is the newest instrument. The turntables are more rhythmically complex than any other instrument, based on the fact that what you can do with a fader and your hand playing at the same time, no guitar player or a horn player could play that fast.
When I'm sampling, I have all these artists. They're in my band, and I'm sampling Wes Montgomery to play guitar on my show. He's in my band. You know, I got Art Blakey. He's my drummer. That's tight. You know what I'm saying? I got all these legendary musicians that are in my band.
What they were all doing is they were beat miners. You know what I mean? They were like mining old records for those break sections, like basically 70s funk records.
Is a major funk icon. He's the maverick. He's the person that through Parliament and Funkadelic and his own works later on created a lot of the foundation for what hip-hop would become.
Of course, Back in Time has a really good sound, like James Brown. The beats are just so fat.
Music was so useful, I think, to a lot of hip-hop heads because Clyde